XYH7, a celestial gem, sparkled in the cosmic abyss, its atmosphere swirling with haunting violet and verdant clouds. Here, Captain Darius Voss languished, bound to a frigid metal chair within the alien queen's formidable fortress, the infamous Hive, a name dreaded in human colonies. Darius had lost track of time, each moment stretched into an eternity under the crushing weight of his dire situation. He commanded an elite team on a seemingly simple reconnaissance operation, which turned into an unthinkable nightmare. Were entrusted with pioneering explorations of XY7's uncharted territories for resource exploitation, yet events spiraled uncontrollably when a catastrophic ship malfunction occurred during their voyage. This was triggered by unforeseen planetary magnetic field interference. Before repairs could commence, insectoid drone swarms overwhelmed them, capturing all but one, Darius, now isolated in this vast chamber. Darius fought to suppress overwhelming terror as the surrounding walls throbbed with a faint luminescence. With rivulets of ethereal light pulsating with life almost sentient, he discerned faint clicks and whispers reverberating through the adjacent corridors, chilling him to the core. His captors were not merely extraterrestrial. They were something far more profound, an ancient, hyper-intelligent, and utterly alien presence. As if answering his contemplation, the massive doors at the chamber's extremity groaned open, introducing two imposing sentinels. Their carapaces shimmered ominously beneath the dim illumination cast by the pulsating wall cells, and their elongated craniums, angled subtly, executing precise movements toward Darius, weapons locked onto him without a flicker of hesitation. Behind them emerged a third figure, diminutive in stature, yet exuding an undeniable authority, compelling the guards to reflexively brace themselves. Then, she materialized, the extraterrestrial queen herself. Her presence engulfed the chamber instantaneously, her colossal physique adorned in radiant armor that cascaded like molten metal. She advanced with regal poise, her every stride echoing with the resonance of thunder across the floor. Her eyes, expansive and multifaceted, sparkled with ancient wisdom, scanned Darius with unnerving focus, her gaze boring into his soul. Despite her formidable presence, it was her voice that chilled him. Unlike the guttural pronouncements common to her species, her tone was silken, almost musical, yet laden with veiled implications. "You are unique," she uttered, head cocked. The simple phrase echoing with possibilities Darius dared not consider. He gulped audibly, attempting to regulate his respiration, regardless of her intentions. His survival hinged on remaining vigilant and safeguarding his dwindling dignity. The alien queen methodically orbited Darius, her claws clicking softly, evaluating him like a scientist examining a captivating subject. Her intense gaze meticulously scrutinized his features, his unshaven jaw, the subtle scar over his eyebrow, and the damp strands of hair clinging to his forehead, an intensely violating assessment. Intimately close, though he struggled to maintain a blank face, denying her the triumph of witnessing his apprehension. "You possess a curious fragrance," she purred, halting just behind him, her tone a bizarre cocktail of intrigue and playful mockery, as if evaluating an exotic bloom rather than a detained foe. Darius's hands tightened into fists, yet he remained silent, refusing to take her bait. The guards, stationed like statues on either side of the chamber, stood unyielding, their mandibles fluttering almost imperceptibly, a subtle signal that even they found this unsettling. The Queen's unceremonious interaction caught everyone's attention. Then, in an instant, time seemed to stop. Without prelude, the alien Queen inclined forward, her massive form looming over Darius, casting a deep shadow. With painstaking deliberation, she stretched forth a clawed hand and, before anyone could react, delicately brushed a stray strand of hair from his brow. The gesture was unexpectedly and strangely tender, a stark contrast to the dire situation. For a heartbeat, Darius's breath hitched in his throat, a strange jolt coursing through him. Not pain, but something else entirely. Something intensely electric, primal, as if her very nearness warped reality itself. A guard hissed, trembling, the other hesitant to interfere. Even the Queen paused, eyes narrowing, surprised by the profound effect. "Fascinating," she murmured, withdrawing yet lingering, a glint of mischievous fascination in her gaze. "Your species is delicate yet indomitable, a universe of feelings within such vulnerable forms." She cocked her head, scrutinizing him like an intricate enigma. "Tell me, young warrior, have you pondered why I chose to show you mercy?" Darius, startled, retorted, his voice unexpectedly coarse. "Your motives are irrelevant. If death is your decree, then execute it swiftly." To his astonishment, the Queen tilted back her head and unleashed a laugh that echoed like a thunderous storm throughout the chamber. A profound and opulent sound, laced with a warmth that defied Darius's preconceived notions of her people. "Terminate you?" she scoffed, her voice dripping with sardonic amusement. "Oh, my dear mortal, eliminating you would be excessively simple. Nay, I harbor far more elaborate designs for your fate." Her words lingered ominously, yet before Darius could delve deeper, she pivoted sharply, her armored tail swishing elegantly. "Escort him to the observation deck," she decreed to the guards. "Let us assess the true resilience of his spirit." As the guards complied, Darius detected a fleeting exchange of glances. Whatever bond these beings shared, they too seemed affected by their Queen's erratic temperament. Dragged to his feet, Darius was propelled toward another sector of the structure. Fortress. He couldn't escape the ominous premonition that the true horrors were still to unfold. The observation deck defied Darius's wildest expectations. The chamber seemed hewn from the hive's very essence, its walls throbbing in eerie unison with an imperceptible pulse. A colossal viewport showcased the stunning yet terrifying vista of XYZ7, where violet lightning lashed jagged peaks and molten rivers coursed like veins of fire. Fire, an almost indecent spectacle, highlighted this world's alien nature. Darius ignored it, fixated on a levitating platform crackling with energy, where the alien Queen gestured and guards dragged. Darius stepped forth, bound and secured. "This promises to be exquisite," she murmured, pacing the platform like a hunter assessing its quarry. "You see, little soldier, I've become jaded. My subjects are devoted, effective, compliant, but utterly monotonous. You humans, though." She paused, a claw tapping her chin in contemplation, "are pure, unbridled chaos. Unpredictable, illogical, and yet you persevere against all conceivable challenges. That fascinates me." Before Darius could retort, the platform vibrated beneath him, the restraints constricting slightly, holding him fast. As the ground beneath him shimmered with an unsettling cerulean glow, An intense pressure gripped his chest, like unseen entities examining his core being. Terror threatened to overwhelm him, but the Queen's raised hand, a silent command, halted his struggle. "Breathe," she murmured, her voice gentle but absolute. "This poses no physical danger, merely a profound experiment, a measure of your inner strength." With that, she retreated, her unwavering gaze fixed upon him as reality warped around them, the solid walls dissolving into a vortex of swirling visions. Images surged, overwhelming Darius, scenes of devastation and anguish unfolding at lightning speed. He witnessed brutal conflicts, fallen brothers, pivotal victories, and crushing defeats, each memory amplified. Forgotten childhood terrors, unrealized aspirations, and deeply repressed regrets resurfaced, unearthed from the depths of his being. The Queen observed with detached fascination, her face an inscrutable mask as she laid bare his innermost self to the merciless glare of reality. A delicate clicking sound echoed, as if meticulously recording each response. The guards stood unmoving, their bodies taut with suppressed anxiety. Darius guessed they felt just as shaken. At last, the image deluge waned, leaving him breathless. The platform deactivated, chains releasing him to slump forward. Darius steadied himself, legs quivering, sweat and tears mingling, a testament to his unspoken fear. "Well, what visions did you behold? What profound truths did you exhume?" the Queen inquired, drawing nearer, her tone now hushed, bordering on tenderness. Darius simply convulsed, his words trapped within a tempestuous maelstrom of rage, humiliation, and sorrow. For a fleeting second, he loathed her for compelling him to face suppressed fragments of his identity. Yet beneath that animosity simmered a reluctant admiration. She had unmasked him not with malice, but with surgical precision, exposing vulnerabilities he hadn't known he possessed. "I've borne witness to enough," he declared, his voice strained. "Was my downfall your objective?" The Queen responded with a resonant chuckle that permeated the chamber. "To shatter you, a mere trifle. I aspire to comprehension, strength tempered by adversity, not fragility." She extended a hand, her sharp claw lightly caressing his face. This time, he remained unfazed. "We shall observe your resilience," she proclaimed, "your capacity to either disintegrate or triumph." With that enigmatic pronouncement, she departed, her guards flanking her as the doors sealed shut. Abandoned again, Darius found himself amidst the hive's throbbing walls. Yet this silence felt denser, laden with unspoken meanings. The Queen's machinations were far from concluded, and neither was his ordeal. Time warped within the hive, its passage erratic, dictated by powers unknown. He sat, legs crossed, on the frigid cell floor, gazing into the rhythmic pulse of the walls. Haunted, he grappled with the Queen's experiment. Its specter lingered, a relentless mental tempest. Suppressed memories erupted, searing and exposing him. Yet amidst the chaos, a defiant spark ignited, stubborn and resolute. He dissected the Queen's calculated theatrical actions, sensing a test of not only his limits, but her own. Questioning the motive behind his survival, Darius wondered if it was simple inquisitiveness or a more profound scheme. He felt manipulated, unsure if he was a mere instrument, a dangerous tool, or something more mysterious. This thought was disturbed as his cell door hissed open. 2 guards marched in, and pulled a familiar, armored figure. Commander Leora Vance. The unit's most celebrated officer, her vibrant crimson hair, now soiled with grime and blood, framed a face pale yet resolute. Her emerald eyes blazed with an unmistakable fire. "Leora," Darius exclaimed, leaping to his feet. "What brings you here?" A faint smile graced her lips as she retorted, her voice firm. "Rescuing your neck, obviously, though I'm rethinking my choices." The guards dumped her roughly on the floor before disappearing, leaving the pair alone. As the door slammed shut, Leora winced and rolled. Onto her side, cradling her ribs. Darius surged forward, aiding her to sit up. Close up, the severity of her wounds was evident. Bruises blossoming across her skin, cuts sealed with dried blood. Despite her valiant facade, she looked utterly ravaged. "What in the world occurred?" Darius pressed, his voice a low, insistent rumble. "How did you wind up in this dire state?" Leora grimaced, shifting to lean against the wall for stability. "To put it succinctly, I intercepted your distress beacon, envisioned myself swooping in for a heroic rescue, and then riding off triumphantly. Turns out, the scoundrels are fiercely protective of their territory." Darius managed a wry chuckle, finding the situation grimly predictable. "Not entirely unexpected, was it? Did you at least get a signal to HQ?" Her face clouded over. "Negative. They blindsided us before we could get a message out. Decimated half my squad before I even knew what was happening." She paused, eyes darting around the cell. "All right, spill it. What's the story with this twisted place, and how are you miraculously still breathing?" Darius hesitated, grappling with how much to disclose. The Queen's unsettling actions, her twisted experiments, the uncanny bond she craved. It all felt like madness, even to him. But Leora was astute. She'd dissect any fabrication. With a heavy sigh, he recounted the entire saga since his capture, from the throne room's mortifying spectacle to the observation deck's agonizing trial. When he concluded, Leora gaped, utterly speechless. "Wait, so the Queen actually laid hands on you? As in, touched you and didn't immediately decapitate you?" "It's complex," Darius mumbled, scratching his neck sheepishly. "She's unique, unlike the rest. Unique doesn't equal reliable," Leora snapped, her voice like ice. "These creatures are monsters, Darius. Don't ever forget it." "I haven't," he stated, his voice unwavering. "But something profound is happening here, something far beyond our comprehension. Our survival hinges on understanding it." Leora scrutinized him, her emerald eyes hardening with contemplation. "Fine, let's say, precisely," Darius affirmed. "So what's our strategy, Mastermind?" He subtly shifted his gaze toward the exit, his thoughts churning. "Initially, we exercise patience. She'll inevitably seek me out again. I'm certain of it. And when that moment arrives, we'll be prepared." Leora interjected. "And then?" Darius's eyes flashed with a hazardous determination. "Then we completely invert the situation. Whatever insidious game she's orchestrating, it's our turn to retaliate." Though unspoken, the daunting reality of their disadvantage weighed heavily on them. Yet enveloped by the soft illumination of the rhythmic walls, they exchanged subdued humor and recalled past endeavors. A profound sense of determination washed over them. They might be captives, but they hadn't succumbed utterly. Not yet. The ensuing confrontation with the alien queen materialized quicker than Darius foresaw. Precisely as daybreak, or its facsimile on XY7, commenced seeping through the bioluminescent fog, the cell door glided open with a menacing hiss. Dominating the threshold stood the queen herself, accompanied by her unwavering sentinels. Her aura instantly saturated the constricted chamber, her kaleidoscopic eyes shimmering with an inscrutable ferocity. "Commander Vance," she crooned, her mellifluous voice propelling icy tendrils down Leora's spine. "How utterly charming. Another mortal to amuse me." Leora remained unfazed, meeting the queen's imperious gaze with unwavering resolve. "Amuse yourself, Your Majesty. I'm not participating in your charades." The queen emitted a low, resonant chuckle that echoed throughout the chamber. "Charades? Oh no, my dear. What I've orchestrated promises to be far more illuminating." With a gesture, she commanded the guards, who moved to apprehend Leora. Darius instinctively surged forward, but a swift strike from a guard sent him collapsing. "Don't!" Leora exclaimed, struggling against the guard's grasp. "Leave him uninvolved." Yet her pleas were disregarded as the guards. The queen advanced, finding Darius kneeling. Her razor-edged hand trailed his jaw, compelling eye contact. "Observe, soldier. Your ally presents a rare chance to study how loyalty shapes both power and vulnerability." Darius spat, a guard's kick answering. Ribs ablaze, he suppressed a scream. The queen, unbothered, smiled. "Seize them both. Let's explore the boundaries of their bond. We'll propel them on the harrowing voyage to the queen's sinister arena," was a disorienting maelstrom of agony and bewilderment. Bound together, Darius and Leora were hauled through a network of perplexing corridors, their echoing footsteps reverberating against the throbbing walls. The atmosphere intensified, growing frigid and dense, bearing down upon them like a tangible burden. Ultimately, they surfaced into an expansive chamber, its lofty ceiling swallowed by the gloom. At its core, a colossal abyss yawned, its depths concealed by an ominous, swirling miasma. "You shall contend," the queen declared, her voice imbued with an ominous irrevocability. "Not for mere survival, but..." Before either could object, guards thrust them onto a slender platform over the pit. Chains clanked, securing them precariously above the abyss. Eerie shapes emerged from the mist, hinting at unseen horrors. "This is utter madness," Leora choked, fear lacing her voice. Darius replied, eyes fixed on the pit. "We've no choice. Stay sharp. We shall overcome this ordeal." A nightmarish beast materialized from the swirling mist, a grotesque entanglement of claws and fangs. Their courage intensified. Standing shoulder to shoulder, they confronted the unfolding horror, unified by an indomitable will to endure. Whatever knowledge the queen sought, she would discover far more than anticipated. The abomination surged upward, its twisted form defying natural laws, propelled toward the platform. Claws screeched against the metal edge, sending shudders through the chains restraining Darius and Leora. They recoiled instinctively. Their movements, though on treacherous ground, were perfectly mirrored. The beast unleashed an ear-splitting shriek, its multifaceted eyes fixating on them with ravenous intent. "Beware its tail," Darius roared, noticing the whip-like appendage coiled to strike. Leora responded instantly, her honed military instincts taking over as she adopted a defensive posture. The monster lunged anew, viscous saliva cascading from teeth that flashed like daggers in the gloom. Its immense bulk seemingly eliminated any chance of retreat, yet succumbing to fear was not an option. In a breathtaking surge of velocity, the creature's tail snaked out like a deadly whip, targeting Leora. Legs flailed as she lurched unsteadily, her bound hands rendering balance a treacherous feat, yet she narrowly evaded the strike. The tail detonated against the platform with a thunderous boom, cratering the metal and sending both humans reeling. Darius seized her arm, preventing a catastrophic fall. "We must synchronize our efforts," he bellowed over the cacophony of the beast's rage. "Split its focus." Leora offered a sharp nod, her verdant eyes burning with resolve. Side by side, they surged in opposing paths across the slender platform, compelling the monstrosity to divide its attention. It stalled, its repulsive visage pivoting between them, struggling to choose its initial prey. Capitalizing on the pause, Darius hurled himself against the nearest chain, binding them to the platform, leveraging his mass to wrench fiercely, hastening the fragile link towards its breaking limit. Concurrently, Leora captivated the creature's focus, goading it with scornful jeers that reverberated throughout the chamber. Incensed, the beast lunged towards. Her claws ripped through the air, a hair's breadth from her face. She dodged, narrowly escaping instant death, and retaliated with a swift, forceful kick to its leg. The blow staggered it, offering Darius an opportunity. "Go now!" he roared, leveraging his entire weight against the weakened chain. With a sharp clang, the link shattered, sending him sprawling. Now unbound, he surged to his feet, hurtling towards Leora, using his momentum to slam into the beast's leg. The creature bellowed in primal rage, writhing erratically as it fought to stabilize on the precarious platform. Leora capitalized swiftly, seizing the final chain and whirling like a human pendulum. Her boots impacted squarely on the creature's skull, the blow's force staggering it substantially. Darius reinforced her, unleashing a barrage of potent kicks targeted at its exposed undercarriage. Each impact propelled the beast nearer the platform's brink, until with a final agonizing bellow, it plunged into the chasm below. A fleeting silence descended. Exhausted, both humans crumpled onto the platform, lungs burning as adrenaline surged, a fleeting triumph swiftly shattered by the Queen's resonant voice, cutting through the silence. "Extraordinary," she mused, emerging from the darkness where she had patiently watched. Her multifaceted eyes shone with evident approval, her tone inscrutable. "You are truly captivating specimens. Unwavering loyalty, exceptional courage, remarkable adaptability, traits undoubtedly worthy of deeper investigation." Darius strained to meet her gaze, his chest rising and falling rapidly. "Is this the validation you sought? Proof of our resilience? Or is this torment merely beginning?" The Queen inclined her head, seemingly evaluating his defiance. "Oh, we are nowhere near the culmination, diminutive warrior. However, perhaps you've merited a momentary cessation." With a gesture, she commanded her guards to gather the bruised humans, hoisting them roughly. Darius locked eyes with Leora, silently fortifying their unwavering pact. Regardless of the tribulations ahead, they would confront them as one. The Queen's Legion escorted Darius and Leora back to their confinement, though this occasion, a peculiar caution marked their steps, as if even hardened warriors were disturbed by the spectacle or their monarch's erratic whims. The massive door echoed shut, isolating the weary pair, battered but defiant. They sank onto the frigid ground, bodies screaming, spirits indomitable. Well, Leora gasped, humor tinged with irony. I reckon we gave her a performance to remember. Darius offered a faint chuckle, bracing himself against the adjacent wall. Yeah, for all the impact it'll have, she's far from finished. Not even close. Leora's gaze softened as she regarded him. You honestly believe she's orchestrating a more intricate strategy here? I'm uncertain, he conceded, dragging a hand through his perspiration-drenched hair. But one element is undeniable. She's utterly captivated by us, particularly by you. Perhaps that grants us a slight advantage. An advantage was precisely what they were craving. The alien queen held all the power. Her motives might be enigmatic, but her actions radiated an almost obsessive level of curiosity. They might harness that allure, perhaps shifting the balance to their advantage. Days crawled by in stifling sameness. The hive felt eerily hushed, as if the entire architecture was inhaling deeply. Darius and Leora dedicated their time to plotting, meticulously assembling scraps of intel on the Queen's conduct and the fortress's design. They realized liberation wouldn't be simple, but each nuance counted. Every hushed exchange between sentinels, every glimmer within the throbbing ramparts, each iota contributed to a grander enigma awaiting resolution. Signals a pivotal juncture. As the gates unlatched, it wasn't the standard guard procession that emerged. Instead, the Queen graced the cell with her presence, her colossal figure dominating the room like an impending tempest. Her kaleidoscopic eyes radiated such fierce power that both humans instinctively recoiled. The hour is nigh, she proclaimed, her dulcet tones laced with an undercurrent of conclusiveness. You've demonstrated fortitude, versatility, ingenuity. Now, the definitive trial commences, the apex of my grand endeavor. Elaborate on this test, Leora pressed, stepping forward. Proceed onward, undeterred by peril, amidst escalating monstrosities and intensifying torment. The Queen inclined her head, contemplating the query. Nay, no monsters, no shackles, solely veracity. Before either mortal could inquire further, she beckoned them to accompany her. Hesitantly, they complied, following her as she guided them through labyrinthine passages until they arrived at a chamber of unparalleled wonder. The expanse of the room was staggering, its ceiling swallowed by darkness, and at its core stood a colossal crystalline edifice, throbbing with an ethereal luminescence. It vibrated gently, echoing profoundly within. Their chests, the Queen elucidated, house the Nexus, a profound conduit to my kind's collective consciousness. Through it, I shall perceive your essence, your very soul. She paused, facing them squarely. And you shall behold mine. Darius and Leora exchanged apprehensive glances. This nexus, whatever its nature, radiated danger. Yet defiance was futile. The vigilant guards ensured compliance. Resigned, they approached the crystalline monolith, feeling its potent energy tingle against their skin. Place your hands. Hesitate not, the Queen urged, noting their reluctance. Fear not, it unveils. It does not wound, laying bare the hidden depths. After a beat, Darius extended a hand, his palm meeting the crystal's frigid plane. Leora mirrored him, their fingers interlacing, a silent pact. Instantly, the crystal erupted, drowning the chamber in incandescent brilliance. A tidal wave of sensation crashed over them, a maelstrom of visions, sentiments, and chronicles cascading through their consciousness. Fragments of the Queen's saga flickered before them, her ascent to authority, her battles against adversaries, Her isolation amidst her brethren amplified her solitude, her profound desire for kinship, her urgent need to grasp humanity's aptitude for solidarity and fortitude. Then, abruptly, the surge inverted. Their deepest thoughts, anxieties, aspirations, and visions gushed forth, vulnerable to her intense examination. In an eternal instant, they thrived in seamless symbiosis, their consciousness interwoven with hers, dissolving species boundaries, replaced by pure, unadulterated comprehension. As the bond shattered, both humans reeled, craving breath as, emerging from the depths, the Queen remained still, her expression inscrutable. For the first instant since their capture, she appeared genuinely affected. "You are truly remarkable," she whispered, her voice quivering with a hint of awe. "Your power isn't found in arms or tactics. It's rooted in your connections, your fellow warriors, your planet. You battle not only to exist, but for those you cherish." Darius stood taller, meeting her gaze firmly. "If you sought to comprehend us, why not simply inquire?" Her mandibles twitched subtly, a ghost of a smile. "Because inquiry necessitates. Trust something I'm just grasping." Plus, a profound hush descended, broken solely by the Nexus's subtle thrum. Slowly the Queen extended a formidable claw. "Depart," she uttered. "Rejoin your kin. Share what you've witnessed. Maybe, eventually, our peoples will discover harmony." Her pronouncement lingered, slow to penetrate their minds. Could liberation genuinely be theirs after such trials? The notion felt dreamlike, beyond comprehension. Yet as the wardens receded and the gateway to escape materialized, a fragile hope blossomed. With hesitant steps, Darius and Leora forsook the Queen, venturing toward liberation. Behind, the crystalline edifice waned, its radiance dissolving into obscurity. Emerging from the stronghold into XY7's extraterrestrial terrain, they discovered a compact shuttle, a token, perhaps, from their cryptic abductor. Wordlessly, they embarked. Vessel, commencing launch protocol. Words seemed insufficient to encapsulate the sheer magnitude of events. As the shuttle ascended, whisking them from the hive toward the cosmos, Darius grasped Leora's hand. "We triumphed," he murmured, a wide grin forming. "We endured and gained invaluable insight." Leora responded, squeezing his hand. "About them and ourselves." As the planet receded into a violet and gold shimmer, they embraced a fleeting moment of hope. The impending voyage would be burdened with trials, yet united for the first time in forever, embracing a renewed sense of resolve.